Hi, Dr. Martin. So I am going to be answering the questions for Project 1A, Cambourne's Conditions for Learning. I know that we talk about it all of the time in your classroom. Also, sorry, I have my notes pulled up on one side of my screen and then like the recording on the other. So, just make sure that I answer all the things you want from me. I'm going to just take a look over there every now and then. Sorry. But yeah, I definitely think that being purposeful, having doable things is their choice. And is it safe for a student? I think that those are definitely all important aspects of like a child's learning environment. I think that even when we see something that's purposeful and like not even just purposeful for now, but like to like let them know like that's gonna affect you later on, or like even though you're not enjoying this right now, you may be in a job that you don't really like one day, but if you do really good and you try your best, like people notice those things and we love to be noticed. Like, and I really want that to be something in my classroom too, is like noticing like how hard they're working, or like noticing like the things that they're doing well, not just like, oh, great job, but like I noticed that you tried really hard on this, and I noticed that you went the extra mile, and when you were frustrated you kept trying again. Like doing those things like purposeful, like building grit and building resilience are like very purposeful in their lives. And like I think that especially in a day where we see so many like helicopter parents and like snowplow parents, like it's important to like build that grit and resilience and just like expect like the iron sharpens iron kind of thing, just like allowing like the iron of like being the teacher like sharpen the student, and like just like call that out of them. And I think like, is it doable? Like I remember being in school and like just some things like with teachers were just, I was like, this isn't even, like, there's literally no reason that this should be this hard, or, like, it should be, like, this taxing, or, like, whatever. Like, is it doable? I think that that's such an important question to ask, because I remember Dr. Wilson was telling us about one of her, like, her best friend, his son had a friend in a different classroom, and the teacher was having them do this assignment where they had to, like, spell words backwards. That's not purposeful at all. Sorry, I guess I'm touching on purposeful again, but that's not purposeful. And for that little boy, he was crying and he was really upset and just like having a really tough time. So it wasn't even doable for him. Like, and there's no way that he felt great going back into class after like just feeling so challenged and so defeated. So I think that that's ridiculous on like the question of like, is it doable? Like for that little boy, it was not doable, and it really made him frustrated and stressed out. So it really was not purposeful at all. There was no purpose in it, and it was homework. Like, that's really silly. If that's going to be something that you do in your classroom, it should be no sort of grade, and it should be some sort of, like, crazy free work if they want to have some fun. But it's not teaching them literacy. It's not teaching them any skill that they'll actually, like, hone or, like, need necessarily. So I think that that's very silly. And is there choice? I adore so much the idea of choice. I think that choice for a student really will get them to like take ownership of their learning, and I think that that's something we talk about all the time. But in all reality, it's so hard to give students choice because as teachers, we typically like to instruct. And I think that that's like the whole paradigm shift idea that you always talk about with us, and I think that that's so vital and important, because like when you see like the child and the student as like the learner, but also the teacher, but also like, I don't know, it's kind of like a weird thing to like describe. It's almost like the rise and like the fall of like a wave kind of to me. Like they have to come low, but then they get high, and then they get to come back low, and like it's just kind of something that's like mosaic. It's like a mosaic fluid model. Like it just moves up and down, and like there has to be choice in it. And like is there choice? Is there choice for them to rise, and there's their choice for them to like fall and like find a middle ground, like just to say yes or to say no. I don't know. I think that that's kind of like what that means to me. But it's really easy to like get stuck on the straight and like, I'm the teacher, you're gonna do this because of XYZ, because I have standards to me, because there's an objective, like because I need to assess you on something. But like I think when you truly do give a student a choice, it definitely like allows them to make their education their own and really like hone in those skills and to ride the waves of their education. And I think that also does like bring them to like the opportunity to experience that grit and resilience that we were talking about in purposeful. And I don't think that yeah. So it says to include your working definition of a community of learners and its importance to an effective classroom. So for me, a community of learners is literally just a group of students, teachers especially, faculty, staff, administration, just people who are willing to not always know the right answer, people who are willing to get low and to lift others up. And I think that that's something that I definitely want to stress in my classroom is like we lift others up by getting low. I think like even in the Bible we see that like Jesus, he came down, he got low, he sat with the sinners, he sat with the tax collectors, like he sat with the woman who was a prostitute, he healed the woman with the issue of blood, but like he had to get low. Even though he was high and exalted and the only one that could like take our cross and bear our sin and our shame, like he had to get low and get with us in the dirt in order for us to be risen one day with him. Like I think that that's like as teachers, I think it's even in Ephesians it talks about how like the fivefold ministry gift is like such a vital part, but also like the harsh reality of those gifts. Like you will be judged according to like twice the punishment. Like you have so many people like riding on the wave of your shoulder, but like as a steward of the kingdom, like we have to get low and lift them up. And then like teaching our students like servanthood. And I think that that's something that's like I really want to teach in a public school, so I think that even servanthood, like serving one another great, like treat others how you want to be treated, like that's servanthood. And I think like that's what I want my community of learners to be, as I just want them to know like we get low and we lift others up, and like we are okay to not know all the answers. We're okay that we may just have a rough day. It's okay that if I have a question, I'm going to ask somebody. And if you ask me a question that's too big for my knowledge, hey, we'll just look it up together. Let's just turn on the smartboard, or let's go on our computers really fast and we'll just do a quick little research. Like that's okay. That's what a community of learners looks like for me. And I think especially like in administration and faculty and staff, like all good things trickle down and all bad things trickle down. Like, and I think that that's like something that I really want to look forward, or like look really critically into when I'm accepting a position, is like what does their administration look like? Who can say good things about their administration? Because all things flow down. So I definitely want to like work in a community that's already like cultivating that like atmosphere of like we're a community of learners. We're not just a classroom of learners, but like we're all in this game together. And yeah, I think that that's really what like that's the importance I think of a community of learners, is that like it really is just the opportunity and the hope of like building up students and building up them to be servants and learners and like people who are willing to be resilient and have grit and like know that like, oh man, this may be tough, but I'm gonna get it, and like there's people to help me and love me through it. And yeah, I think that that's the importance to me. But yeah, so that's my answer for the questions with Cambourne's conditions for learning. But yeah, that's it really. That I think that's my personal philosophy on this paper, in this article. But yeah.